Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera.
In thanking His Royal Highness most sincerely this morning, I would like to begin by being very personal and a bit boastful that relates to His Royal Highness' presence this morning. Many of my friends wonder and even express envy as to how I could be honored by His Royal Highness' presence. Begging your pardon, Tuanku, I can't resist the temptation to boast here that actually Your Royal Highness had given me the privilege of being known to you for quite some time. We being almost of the same age, except for a few decades of difference. With your permission, Tuanku, I have two very short stories to tell. Actually, there are more. Rest assured, Tuanku, that is a very good story. When Ika and I first arrived in Boston on a dark and rainy night prior to my resident fellowship at Harvard University many years ago, the most pleasant surprise for us was that it was His Royal Highness who was at the airport receiving us, carrying and packing our luggage into the car that he himself drove, and safely delivering us to our very modest flat in Cambridge, Massachusetts. One. The second occasion was that after some time in Cambridge, our flat was broken into. I'm sure those thieves got the impression that there was this rich couple from Malaysia who deserved robbing. They did not get anything because our house, the only valuable thing, I'm sorry, Ika, for me to say this, was your underwear. They didn't get anything. Now, so as a result of that, we really got scared in in Cambridge, and we decided to move to Boston, just across the river, for those who know. Well, imagine, it was His Royal Highness again who drove us, luggage and all, to the flat. Now, listen to this, as if not enough. On arrival, realizing that the flat was 2 floors up without any elevator or lift, His Royal Highness just picked up and carried our pots and pans as well as luggage up to the 2nd floor. Now you know, the thing that I wondered now is, how is it that you, Tuanku, know that I was that old as not to be able to carry all this stuff? My good friend Datuk Farouk, once in a while, often enough in the past, had always said, "Sir, you're old, you know." But then that was after Harvard. And I retorted back to Datuk Farouk, I said, "You too." That stopped him. Anyway, Ika and I would like now, after so many years, to thank you seriously, Tuanku, for that touch, the rakyat touch, if I may say, that is in the heart and soul of royalty. And if you are looking for top leadership, for practicing leadership by example, here's one for you guys. Malaysia, here's one for you. Tuanku. Thank you. Relatives and friends all, today I think I might be breaking a record. I say so because it has taken me almost 15 years to get to finishing this one single book. Now, today, at last, you could not find a more nervously excited person than me. I was in politics, I know how to hide it, but today my nervous excitement cannot be hidden. I'm standing before you and honored by your presence, your Highness, Royal Highness, and all of you. Fantastic. Just look at the crowd. I did confess to Tuanku just now. Sorry guys, we are all very close friends. You know what I call you, Tuanku? I've got a motley crowd of friends upstairs. It does reflect to me the type of friends I have. That's what I say, friends all. You, my friends all, who mattered, who helped me, who did encourage me, made me feel great to have done the things that I did. I bid you all welcome, and I thank you all for your presence. And one thing, just in case, looking at the faces of my friends here, especially those who are politically sensitive, let me say this. Rest assured, you are all here as my friends with no political connection whatsoever. So don't worry. I stand before you today as one who is often dubbed as the PM Malaysia never had. Don't laugh, there are a few aspirants among us now. I'm talking about those who come here as not representing, those who come here who are very active members of UMNO Youth. Don't get angry with them, they're here as my friends. Okay? To me, this brand I had, the PM Malaysia never had, it's a reminder of how unsuited I was actually to the highest post, especially within the context of the rough and tumble of politics. Success in politics demands an ability to connect and communicate with people. It demands the ability to convince your audience. And it also demands the politician to project an image of honesty, integrity, firmness, and fairness on assuming office. Ask any one of the politicians, I say, yes, that's exactly me. But what has very, very, very rarely been mentioned is that aspiring politicians need one special ability, and that is the ability of being able to not tell the truth without blinking an eyelid and doing with it with a straight face. My experience tells me that telling the truth and being straightforward and being frank are almost certain to get you nowhere upwards in politics. My dear Tan Sri Mahidin, take note of this. No political connection, no implication what I just said, because to my friend Tan Sri Mahidin. This book is being launched and it's called Frankly Speaking. When I was almost at the top, I had to contend with the most politically savvy and supremely confident political leader Malaysia ever had. And you believe it, that guy is still at it. I won't look at Tan Sri Mahidin because in case he's conscious of that. But begging your pardon, because I'll whisper to you later with my apologies, but I'm sure. Look at you, smiling nicely. Seriously, I am not implying anything. It's fun, you know, to talk about you and the future and all that. But frankly speaking, I was too frankly speaking in my relationship with my then boss. To frankly express my views and to frankly speak in my mind, I thought, would help us uplift our performance in government. But alas, it was not to be. Looking back at it now, looking back at it all now, I was simply naive. And I was even sheer political bodoh, stupidity. All along my time serving as Deputy Prime Minister, to be that way. I need to stress here that my speaking, frankly, was not to please, but to contribute. It was, indeed, based on the fundamental assumption of the principal diction of two heads are better than one. But looking back at that time, what I should have used as a motto would have been, and that would certainly save me, would have been and should have been, one head is best for everyone. Relatives and friends all, I am not anymore a practicing politician. I pinch myself, really? Really? Yes. I'm not seeking for votes. I'm not seeking for support. I'm not even seeking sympathy. I don't need sympathy to all the politicians. I have been a student of history, though, and I'm happy for that. History is to be learned, to be understood, and to be used as lessons to emulate the good and to avoid the bad. History must be based on facts, but facts can also influence opinions. My long years of political activities have so much for me to write about. In this book, though, I have not managed to include all. What are the things readers are looking for? And easy to find as far as this book is concerned. Top of the list, easy, Mermali. Second, very easy, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Third, fourth, fifth, and on, almost all are there, almost all are in the book. Issues relating to education and language are there. Issues that relate to one of the biggest rural demonstrations in Baling are there. The Papan issue on toxic waste in your home state, Tuanku, is there. The Sabah state elections, as well as one of Sarawak's earlier political crises are there. Even comments relating to the current political situation is that, even though in doing so, every minute I get out of date. Wait till this affair is over, somebody will have a press conference, I'm already out of date. And many, many more. To laugh a bit, on a serious note, what a contradiction, typical Musa, to laugh a bit, on a serious note, seriousness is about how a politician is ignorant or was ignorant. Look up the part entitled In Search of John Lawyer. I won't tell you, read it, it's fun. And also, for the benefit of Dr. McCoy, Raymond, a few of you, on ragging. Read about it. When I had to crow in the morning in the quadrangle of the University of Malaya, crowing like a cock and doing this at 6 o'clock in the morning on the command of a senior gentleman. After 3 or 4 times crowing, 1 or 2 voices shouted obscenities to me and asked me to shut up. And then sheepishly I went back. I met the senior gentleman, tomorrow do it again, and I did again. Imagine me, great experience, great thing I think. If not for that, I would forever think that I am superhuman. And a must is for you to look at my arguments with my boss on the Papan toxic waste issue that led him remarking to me that to admit a mistake is a sign of weakness. They will exploit it. And my response to him was, no, Mr. Prime Minister, on the contrary, to admit a mistake is a sign of courage. The current political situation in our country is so fraught with so much discord, so much hatred even. Issues which are aplenty are looked at in simple black and white terms. Right or wrong, good or bad, seem to be blurred. Us and them is common in the conduct of politics and very disturbing. You are either with us or you are against us. How depressing. This book, frankly speaking, is about my life, my youth and student days, my days as a civil servant, my early stint in the private sector, and my entry into politics from beginning to end. On politics, I try to pen the how, when, where, and whys of events. Certainly there will be comments galore after it. But why not? It should be so. And I'll be very happy to read them and to take note of them. But then, I should not really bother too much since I'm no more in politics. I don't need to respond, I don't need to debate, but whatever points arise in the course of the discussions and the response, the good, the bad, the ferocious as well as the kind, whatever points arise, I hope that readers would accept all as contributing to our well-being overall, inshallah. Again, friends all, before I take my seat, Tuanku, ampun Tuanku, really for taking so much time. But you should understand, I'm letting off steam. But before I forget, before I sit down, let me thank so many people. Just this particular occasion, so many people for making at least this opening ceremony successful as I seem to get the impression so far. I'm very careful in case after this they make all sorts of remarks about my book, saying it's a flop and all that. So far, it's been successful. First, I want to thank Bruce Gale, who helped me. Where are you? Oh, there you are, Bruce Gale, here. Bruce helped me a lot, researching, digging out in terms of time, in terms of events, correcting and self-correcting. And my goodness me, we had hours and days of arguments. He had to do so much research and all that. Bruce, if I may say, is of fame already because those early days, he wrote a book called Musa Hitam on me. The only book written by a foreigner was Bruce. He told me that it was Tun who asked him to write. Thank you, Bruce. And Dato' Ng, who's sitting by your side, you spent quite a lot of time, kind enough to have taken so much trouble in talking also correcting a few things on the book and getting it published. At least looking at the cover, I like it. The inside, I dare not read it too often. Then of course, Tungku Dato' Anwar, my officer, long ago, who has turned out to be my friend, who's always concerned about my welfare, my good life that I have, and he helped me remind me on a few of the important incidents that took place. And in doing so, I must mention the presence of my ex-officials, very, very loyal. We were really a family that made my life very happy all the way. I have 3 or 4. I think I shouldn't mention your name, but you know, they really were a member of the family. The leading ones, I'm sorry I had to mention the leading ones, Tun Musa there from the very, very young days. One, Muhammad, my ADC forever, always nervous. He was so honest, any little thing was likely to be bad. So he looked after me very well. I had the tendency to be more bad than good. Sorry for all those things I selected. And all my other officials were together with me. So to say this, I suspect he was sent by the police to spy on me and all my friends, those colonial days. I pardon you. I pardon you if you did all these things. Another group worth mentioning are my, what I call Portugal friends, who keep me occupied, really young elderlies. Portugal, not Portugal the country, Portugal, which stands for Persatuan Orang-Orang Tua Gatan. Yeah, no, don't raise your hand. One look at you, they know you are one. Now, when people ask, what do you mean? I say, these are old men. Whenever they see a golf course, they are itching to play. That's the way of getting out of it. Really, friends like that. And other friends, I don't need to name. If you want to know who they are, please check on the list. These are all my friends. The others are all my relatives here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for this apparent support that you've given me, which really makes life a worthwhile thing, makes life worth living with happiness, confidence, with serenity, with a wish that others too would share this in our life generally.